Hello, my name is Timothy Reed, and this is my podcast on how technology has affected the lighting industry. Lighting has evolved many different ways over the years, from back in the beginning when we used to use candles to light, or even back before when oil was discovered, a possible way to keep light going. Back then it was considered a luxury. In 300 BC, Greeks and Romans began using lenses, however. Unlike ours today, theirs were only glass spheres filled with water. In 212 BC, Archimedes said to have built a large focusing mirror. Around 400 AD, the invention of the candle was made. However, the only good burning candles were made from expensive beeswax. Tallow was used for the common folk, and it stunk and smoked everywhere. They also dripped everywhere and gave poor lighting. Not really worth it. The invention of the magnifying glass is attributed to Roger Bacon around 1250, along with the discovery of the concave and convex lenses. In 1545, Sabanto Cirillo discovered the concept of color filters by placing a candle behind a container of translucent colored liquid. He also placed a polished barber's basin behind the torch to create the first spotlight. In 1752, Benjamin Franklin captured electricity and began to learn to control it. The use of color came along in the mid-1700s. In the early 1800s, Augustine Fresnel developed the lens that is to this day used in lighthouses and in some stage fixtures as well. In the late 1800s, Edison invented the incandescent lamp. The first spotlight came along around the late 1800s. Flood and scoop lights came out in the early 1900s. High-intensity discharge lamps in the early 1900s as well. Lighting manufacturers for theatrical lighting became more popular and sprung up around 1915 and thereafter. The modern Lico fixture came out in 1935, par lamps around 1940. Fiber optics were discovered usable in 1955, making controlling lights easier and cables for controlling such lights smaller. In 1958, a dimmer was created, making variable light levels possible. In the early 1980s, the ability to automate lighting became known, and Vari-Lite was the first to release a widely accepted working model of such an instrument. In 1986, the MX512 was created as an ease of controlling multiple units, which pretty much brings us to the present. There was probably a lot more than you wanted to or needed to know about lighting. But in the end, things got going very quickly, and before you knew it, we have our lights. We have lights that weren't even possible 50 years ago. Now, completely controlled by a computer with the push of a single button on the computer or a lighting console.